أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وأنذر به الذين يخافون أن يحشروا إلى ربهم ليس لهم من دونه ولي ولا شفيع لعلهم يتقون ولا تطرد الذين يدعون ربهم بغداة والعشي يريدون وجهه ما عليك من حسابهم من شيء وما من حسابك عليهم من شيء فتطردهم فتكون من الظالمين صدق الله العلي العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين. I bear witness that without Allah there is no God. And I bear witness that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, is the final messenger of Allah, after whom no prophet, old or new, will come. And I begin in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. In verses 51 and 52 of chapter 6 of the Quran, I translate as follows. Informed by it those who are worried that they will be brought together to their nurturer. For them there is no one other than him to be their guardian, nor a mediator that they could manage in order that they could manage their troubles. Don't chase away those who depend upon their nurturer at daybreak and at night time as they wish to see his presence. You are not responsible for anything of their earnings, nor anything of your earnings are they responsible for. So if you chase them away, then you are being cruel. These verses of the Quran, and it is indeed sad that the religion of Islam is looked at from the eyes of other faith systems, other religions. We see religion, so many religions, we think they're a bit different, yes, but there are certain commonness. And many a time, the very purpose of religion, the intent and the impact of religion is not viewed properly. And this is why Allah sends, after the Prophet Muhammad as the last prophet, and the perfect book, the perfect Quran, the last law that is universal and given to all human beings, Allah has sent a Mujaddid. And He has always been sending Mujaddids after prophets. They are not prophets, but they come to interpret the Quran and show us how to interpret the Quran and apply it in our age and time so that it will have some impact upon the improvement of human behavior. And we know that we live in such times in which there is indeed a need for some kind of system, some kind of knowledge, some kind of understanding that would change human beings to behave in a way different from what they are behaving today. And we are well aware there's so much of wars and crimes and injustice that is going on all over the world. So the Quran is telling us here that actions, all our actions, all our behavior, the first thing it points out to us is that our actions and our behavior carries two things. They carry responsibilities, because every action you have to have certain responsibility. You have to do it. And it has an effect. After you perform that action, it has an effect. So for every action we have to make preparations. If you're going to cook, you have to make preparations. You have to have all the ingredients necessary. You have to have the fire, you have to have the gas, or whatever you're using, the electricity as the case may be. And when you finish, there are results. Is it going to be good or bad, depending upon the preparation and the process that you have performed. So the Quran is saying here that the messages of Allah, informed by it, let people know beforehand that with the messages of Allah informs and it gives advance notice. That is the meaning of the word nazar in Arabic. That means both a vow as well as a warning. But warning doesn't necessarily mean something that is bad or evil. It just means the result of your action. You have a good action, it will have a good result. You have a bad action, it will lead to a bad outcome. So the Quran is saying here that telling the Prophet, and not only the Prophet, but whoever is promoting the teachings of the Quran, who are trying to educate people by means of the words of the Quran, whether they are khatibs, imams, whether they may be parents or teachers or whoever they may be. The messages of Allah informs and give advance notice of the outcome of good and bad action. So the Quran does not only tell us to do good, it tells us that when you do good, there's a result. And when you do bad, there's a result. And if you do half and half, or if you don't do any, there are also results in all of these. What it does make clear, as we have seen in the last section of this chapter of the Quran, it tells us that Muhammad, as a prophet of God, does not offer material treasure. He didn't come in this world to give you wealth. And this is what, unfortunately, we see most of the governments of the world, most of the elections that is taking place in all parts of the world, one of the first things that people are looking for is their economic welfare. We'll have better jobs, we'll have more money to spend, we'll have less taxes to pay, as the case may be. And the Quran is telling us here that Muhammad is not coming to offer material treasure or better economic conditions. He says he himself has to obey Allah's messages, that he follows what is revealed to him. So he has no agenda or manifesto that, look, I am coming here and I'm going to guarantee and assure you of better times, so far as the material things of life is concerned. What he does say is, what is revealed to me, I follow it, and if you follow it, we will see the results. And the purpose of that advanced information that is given is to assist anyone in avoiding a bad outcome or dealing with it. In other words, I may do something, it may have a bad outcome. So I am informed beforehand, just as a doctor will do, that if you don't take this approach, such and such will happen to you. And if you take this approach, there's a 50-50 chance, as the case may be, of how you can deal with it. We see that every day, that people are given advice and advanced information as to the side effects of a tablet or drug. It may not work for everybody, or any other event that we are taking. You go to sports, you can win, you can lose, depending upon how you play, as the case may be. So it's the same with good actions. You play well, you will succeed. You don't play well, you find you will not be able to do so. But we'll see, as you notice in many of the interviews with sports people, one of the things is that when you have advanced information, it opens your eyes. You can plan better and you can prepare better. So that you see cricketers and footballers, they will look at the videos of previous matches or previous conditions or so. They look at the conditions of the climate conditions or the pitch conditions or the grounds conditions. They're playing football or cricket or whatever sport it is. They look at these things, and by that information they have, they can better plan what they are going to do. It opens their eyes to be able to plan properly and develop a strategy to deal with the situation, to either win, or if you don't deal with it properly, you may lose. So the unique feature of the Quran is that it opens the mind of the individual. The Quran has come to open our minds. And when a person's mind is open, then he or she will realize that every action carries consequences, good consequences or bad consequences. Every action has an outcome, has a result. And a closed mind makes one hard-hearted. If you think, well, I don't have to bother about what will happen. I just will do it, regardless of the consequences. You become hard-hearted, the person becomes intolerant and even swell-headed. That is what we see in the case of crooks and criminals. They just don't care. So the Quran is indicating to us that the effect of information on the soul, on the personality and the character of the individual, or on what we call the nafs, our personality and character, is that it has an impact upon us to develop an attitude of our approach to dealing with an issue. So any issue you have before us, an attitude we will develop towards, a do-care attitude, or caring attitude, a positive attitude, a negative attitude. And so when our mind is closed and we just don't care, the Quran describes this as what is called nafsul amara, like a beast, a criminal, who has no fear of consequences. They're not afraid of being shot, of dying. They will come in. They're not afraid of the night, of dogs, or guards, or policemen. They have a do-care attitude. So the Quran is describing here human personality as it deals with issues. So everyone can have that attitude. It's not only crooks or criminals, but it's exemplified. In crooks and criminals, you see how they behave like animals. They don't care. They have no regard or no respect for life, or their own life even. They die or shot us, as we see in so many cases. Soldiers going to battle. They don't care. They just decide that they have to do a job, as the case may be. So when the eye is open, when the mind is open, and when you have information, your soul takes on a different attitude, and it's called in the Quran in nafsul lawwama. That is the realization that actions will bring consequences. If I do good, if I have my best performance, I will see better. And this is an example, this is a good advice for children who are writing examination. If you have a don't care attitude and you don't apply yourself to your studies and your work, you will not be able to succeed, no matter how bright you are, no matter what school you're going to. And if you apply yourself, and if you prepare yourself and you realize that, look, there are certain areas in which I'm weak, I need to get extra lessons, or I need to focus more on this, or I need to ask my teacher more. So if you do that, once your mind is open, and this comes about by tests and examinations and so on, you know what your own strengths and your own weaknesses are, and then you can plan better. It's like a person who has to, go in an area. If you see a policeman, or you see a guard or security or so, you will have a different approach if you are concerned. If you don't care, you don't bother. If you have a do care attitude, it doesn't matter who's there, you just get your way, push your way around and so on, and feel you are better than everybody else, and you can get through. But the person who has an attitude of where they are utilizing the information that they have, you see something, you have to take precautions. So the Quran is saying here that sometimes in life you don't have policemen, you don't have guards, you don't have security, but you can have Allah. Allah is always with us. Inna Allah amana. Allah is with us. Allah alone can be your guard and your mediator. So establish a relationship with Him as soon as possible. Sometimes when you fail in doing certain things, you want somebody to intercede, to intervene, to assist you, to help you. You fall down, you want somebody to help and pick you back up again. You may have made an error or mistake, so whatever the reason you fell down. So you have a particular challenge in life and you need assistance. The best assister want to assist you is, of course, God. And it is important, therefore, to develop a relationship with Him. If you fall down and there's nobody to help you, no one near you, you won't be able to get that assistance. Allah is not a being that is far away from us, except we put Him away from us. But if He's always with us, as He says, Inna Allah amana, Allah is with us, as He was with the Prophet Muhammad in the cave of sorrow. If He's with us all the time, He's always there to give us to lend us a helping hand. So He will guard you from making errors, and He would intervene if you may be going wrong. So if you're going in the wrong direction, He will guide you away from that direction into the right direction. So the Quran, by indicating this to us, what is called the nafsul lawwama, is pointing out to us that attitude that people have that is called nafsul lawwama is a struggle to do the right thing and the need for assistance from Allah. I want to do the right thing. I want to correct myself. I want to go further in my job, in my approach to life, in my studies, in my understanding, whatever it is, but I need the help of Allah. And when a person knows and understands that actions lead to consequences and or after effects, there is going to be an effect afterwards. He or she would take the necessary precautions. So you may be taking a medication, for example, but it may cause nausea, it may cause upset, vomiting, or so. You may need to take another medication to offset that. Once you know what is going to happen, you will take the necessary precaution. A person may be leaving their home and you're driving your car and you know it is overheated. You'll take the precaution to walk with some water, or make sure you stop at a place where there's water, or stop and just have the engine cooled a little bit. And anything you're traveling and you're likely to get a flat fuel puncture, you find that you will have a spare tire that you'll keep with you. So when you have advanced information, you can take the necessary precautions when in fact situations arise that you either didn't prepare for, or they came unexpectedly, or you made certain errors and mistakes. And then the Quran points out to us that there's a result for correct behavior. And it says at the end of the day, from daybreak to night time, it says, what is earned is an attribute of Allah or its opposite. So situations arise in life, challenges arise in life, but what happens eventually is that our personality, on our soul, is imprinted an attribute of Allah. So you find that if a child is studying for examination, after the period of time, you will find that they have developed the attitude of discipline, the attitude of perseverance, the attitude of working hard. These are not material things. So it is by means of these functioning by our actions that we are able to develop our spiritual self. So the Quran points out to us that there are two attitudes that people adopt. One is either they are worried that they are not doing enough to benefit from Allah's nurturing, and Allah is a being that the Quran says nurtures us. Allah is not a being that is there in the outer space somewhere and waiting until the day of judgment to reward us or punish us. Allah is an active principle in our lives, nurturing us, just as a teacher will nurture a child through the different courses and subjects, just as a parent will nurture their child. The word Rabb means the one who takes you from stage to stage and ensure that everything is okay, and if the things are not okay, they will make it okay. So that is the meaning of the word Rabb, and I use the word nurturing, or Allah is the nurturer, to translate and explain that word. So the Quran says that if people feel that they are not benefiting from Allah's nurturing, then they persevere in seeking Allah's presence in their life. What they are looking for is they want Allah to be with them. They want this relationship. Inna Allah amana, Allah is with us. But the Quran points out to us that they don't come to the Prophet or they come to the Imam or the Khatib for that purpose. The Prophet cannot bring Allah to you. You are not responsible for anything arising out of their efforts, nor anything of your efforts are they responsible. In other words, every human being is for himself or herself. We have to develop our own relationship with God. Unlike what other faith systems says, no, you depend upon somebody who dies for you on the cross, that will solve your problem. You depend upon someone who is had miraculous attitudes, came down here and did so many things. We see all religions have some kind of personality that they think guarantee you some kind of escape from your responsibilities and the consequences of your actions. The Quran says no. Each and every one of us has our own responsibility, and God alone, Allah alone is the one that can help us through these challenges. Others may advise us, inform them, the Quran says, give them advice, let them know. We can understand what is happening. A doctor can tell you that, look, yes, this will happen to you because of the nature of your disease, but you have to bear the pain, you have to bear the treatment yourself. He cannot take the pill or tablet for you and allow you to get better. So that's what the Quran means by that. You are not responsible. He's not responsible for anything arising out of your efforts, and you are not responsible for him for anything arising out of his efforts. And then the Quran points out to us that how do we deal with challenges? It says when a good person suffers challenges, hardships, difficulties, sufferings, and so on, other people look and say, you see, that person is so religious, that person going to mosque all the time, that person praying all the time. And they think that Allah does not favor them because look how they get sick. Look how look at what they reach, look at they have their finances, or they have so many things. But we see in the Quran, in chapter 26, where prophets of God have gone through so many trials. One prophet, Ayub, Job, we know was is alleged had certain diseases and sickness that was really terrible. It doesn't mean to say that the God was punishing him. We tend to look at anything unfortunate as punishment, when for a true Muslim, anything negative is really a challenge and a trial and a means of strengthening us, especially inwardly. So when good persons suffer challenges, other people think Allah doesn't favor them or that their faith doesn't benefit them. The Quran points out to us, reminds us that rather hardships strengthen a person in being still grateful to Allah. That no matter what, we can be grateful to Allah. And grateful doesn't only mean saying Alhamdulillah. Yes, that's lip gratefulness, but gratefulness means to use all the available resources and opportunities to overcome the sufferings and the hardships and so on, the challenges. Allah has provided us with means to overcome any challenge. He will give us the resources, He will direct us to these resources if we don't have it or we don't know where it is, and He will help us to utilize those resources. And He will show us how to, and so our challenges show us how Allah helps those who turn to Him. So by facing challenges in life, we are demonstrating to other people that look, Allah is real. Allah is helping us overcome the challenges in life, and Allah makes the suffering bearable and eventually successful, beneficial. Not only is the suffering when it overcomes, we overcome it, but it's beneficial. It makes us a stronger, a better person, perhaps more understanding, in some cases more loving, sometimes more appreciative of those who are around us, and the assistance they're given. But then the Quran says that those who are dependent upon Allah can live in peace. Externally you will find. Inwardly it's called Iman. They live in sincerity, in harmony, in peace of mind. But they also live in Salam. Salam means the external peace. They can live in peace and they are guaranteed what the Quran calls Allah's Rahmah. And Rahmah means healing, physically as well as spiritually. So even if, or even when one struggles in, or is compelled to do things that are disagreeable, and in life sometimes when we make choices, we do things which are disagreeable. We don't like it or regret it afterwards. But once we rely on Allah, Allah assures us an improvement in our circumstances. That's why it says there's tawbah and there's istighfar. We can turn a new page, a new life, a new approach to life. A child, for example, who may not have succeeded in an examination, doesn't mean that they are a failure. They may be a failure in the examination, but not a failure as a person. They may look at taking a different course of action. They may take different subjects. They may look at a different field of work. A person may have a business and loses that business and said, look, I need to turn into a different direction. And Allah assures us, therefore, that there will be improvement in our circumstances. So when we look at the teachings of the Quran, compared to other scriptures, we find that there's a uniqueness in the Quran, in that the messages of the Quran are not merely for good and righteous people. Many people think that religion is for the good, to make people good. But religion, or to benefit those who go to church and those who are the good people who believe in God, the Quran has given us here information in advance to tell us that it is for righteous, a good person, yes, to improve ourselves, but it is also a way out for those who are steeped in sin and criminal activity. So the Quran is a book that can help criminals and people who are fighting and killing each other all over the world. It's not that it's only for the good people to make them pray to Allah and everything will be okay. They will be free from all troubles, and everyone who doesn't believe in God will suffer. No. If we are living in a society in which there are murders around us, one day it may affect us. If there are crooks and thieves and so on around us, they will affect us. Therefore, the message of the Quran is such that it is advanced information that we can disperse, we can give to people such that they know how they can change their life and change their attitude and change their approach. We see that in the case of the use of alcohol in the time of the Prophet Muhammad, and drugs and so on. They were told what were the disadvantages of alcohol. It has good and has good and bad benefits. And by giving that information, people make the choice and steer away from alcohol. This is an issue now that is even in the international world. One particular airline company has said that, look, advising government to tell the passengers that, look, before they board an aircraft, they should not have more than 2 drinks, because if they take more than that, when they reach in the aircraft, they find that they misbehave and disrupt and it causes everybody, upsets everybody, and can be a danger to if the Quran says, look, yes, it may have certain benefits in calming you also, but it has the negative effects are greater. And therefore, what the individual is saying is correct, but then why not ban it completely? If one has to use alcohol for medicinal purposes under the advice of a doctor, prescription and so on, it has its benefits. The Quran doesn't deny that. And it has other benefits to as fuel. Instead of oil and so on, it has been used, alcohol has been used as fuel in engines. So it has other purposes as well, for cleaning and sanitizing things and so on. So the Quran is a book that gives us information that helps every individual, good or bad. If you're bad, you can change. If you're good, you can improve. And if you're perfect, you can even reach higher than that. You can have a relationship with God such that you are always in His presence. And that is called Nafsul Mutmainna, where we become blind to all kinds of evil, all kinds of our mind's eye is not open, now it is closed to anything that is wrong and anything that is evil. بارك الله لنا ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعنا وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم إنه تعالى جواد الكريم ملك البر والبحر. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم انصر من نصر دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وجعل منهم. اللهم اخذل من خذل دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ولا تجعلنا منهم. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر. My apologies for lateness. We left over a little earlier today, but it took a little longer in the traffic. It was really terrible. Perhaps we made the wrong choice of road. But as I said in my khutbah, we may have to make necessary precautions and maybe leave a little earlier